Greetings, friends. This is an emergency VFI news update from Jerusalem. As I'm sure you're aware, the U.S. military has taken down the Venezuelan military and arrested the illegitimate president of that country, Nicolas Maduro, along with his wife Celia Flores, and brought them to New York to be prosecuted on various counts of narcotics trafficking, etc., etc., etc. This lightning raid came after weeks of signaling by the Trump administration that Maduro could come out with his hands up, or he'd come out with his hands cuffed behind his back. Now we see that this was not a bluff, and the people of Venezuela, and I would add many other countries in Central and South America, are cheering in the streets. Many people who don't live in these countries are quite angry about the actions taken by the Trump administration, saying this is an outrageous violation of international law, whatever that is, and norms and so on. It's not just the usual suspects in the leftist media and universities who are upset. Those bastions of freedom, democracy, justice, human rights, and international law in Moscow, Beijing, and Tehran are also outraged at this situation. The Russian military in particular is very unhappy right now after seeing the U.S. military make quick work of the air defense systems they sold to Venezuela. Well, they can sell another set. It's almost as bad as when the Israeli military achieved complete air superiority over Iran almost immediately after the outbreak of the 12-day war in June, despite Iran having plenty of Russian-built air defense equipment. This is now the second time in less than a year that Russian-built air defense systems have been demonstrated to be utterly useless when attacked by American airplanes and cruise missiles. That's not good for Russia's military-industrial complex, as their usual customers in India, China, Egypt, and Vietnam are watching this and must be wondering why they're giving the Kremlin perfectly good money in exchange for junk that doesn't do what they need it to do. India also buys a lot of defense equipment from America and Israel, and this is the sort of thing that makes them want to buy more from us and less from the Russians. China also must be looking at this and doing some real hard thinking. Their military has set a goal of being ready to invade Taiwan by the end of 2027, but much of their equipment is either built by Russia or based on Russian technology. They know the Taiwanese, as well as the Philippines, South Korea, Japan, Australia, and Singapore, all have the weapons which Americans sold to them. So if you're the Chinese military, you need to consider the very real possibility that your missiles, planes, ships, tanks, and toys, and all the rest simply isn't as good as what the other side has. That might make the Chinese recalculate and push back their plans to invade Taiwan, hopefully for a very long time. But the most immediate effects of the U.S. operation in Venezuela will be felt right here in the Middle East. Let's start with Iran, where street protests are rocking major cities, and President Trump has specifically said he will come to the aid of these protesters if the Ayatollah regime uses massive violence against them. The regime has responded to this warning with their usual arrogant statements that anyone who tries to interfere in Iran's internal affairs will receive a destructive blow that will make them wish they hadn't done that. I am always amused, in a sad sort of way, to hear the Iranian leaders talking like this. They must know nobody takes them seriously, but they pretend to take themselves seriously, and they also pretend that it's obvious everyone else should and does. However, at this point, even this semi-satirical bravado must be wearing pretty thin with the Iranian leadership. Even they must know that they are in very serious trouble. However, we must not forget that this regime sees itself as the instrument of their God on this earth, and the number one priority their God has is the destruction of Israel. That means that if they think they might be about to lose control, it would make perfect sense from their catastrophically delusional point of view to launch all their remaining missiles at us. Now, this is the nightmare scenario that Israeli security officials are now warning about. It's something I hope I won't have to report on in the days ahead, but it's something we have to be ready for. Even if Iran does not attack Israel directly, their proxies, including Hezbollah in Lebanon and the Houthis in Yemen, are both signaling their intention to do so sooner or later, with or without orders from Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. The December 31st deadline for the Lebanese National Army to disarm Hezbollah has come and gone, and they're still armed to the teeth and bringing in more ammunition every day, so something has to change. Knock, knock, who's there? The IDF is coming. No, the IDF is reportedly preparing contingency plans, including possible preemptive action. And once again, the American operations in Venezuela might bring some of these plans forward, either by Hezbollah or Israel, or maybe both. In light of all this, here at Vision for Israel, we're continuing to place bomb safety shelters and also purchasing equipment for medical first responders, firefighting teams, and the police because they all need to be prepared for tough times ahead. So if you want to know how you can help, please go to our website, visionforisrael.com. Again, that's visionforisrael.com, and click on the Projects tab. You can also subscribe to this channel, share this video with others you know how to pray for Israel and want to get more directly involved with what God is doing here. With that, I'm Barry Segal, and this has been an emergency update of VFI News from Israel. Our regular weekly report will be posted later this week and will include further details related to this story. Shalom, shalom to all of you.